That's just like, well, sadly, 1 out of 4 problems. I said 1 out of 3, but I forgot the suicide speedboat. So 1 out of 4 problems that we got to deal with and drag it out with them over. But all right, let's get back to our guys over here at Fox News.
All right, now 10:30. Have been watching us. We've been waiting for this window. It is open. And a moment ago, President Trump posting this on Truth Social, writing the following: Iran's Navy is laying at the bottom of the sea, completely obliterated 158 ships. What we have not hit are their small number of what they call fast attack ships, because we did not consider them much of a threat. Warning, if any of these ships come anywhere close to our blockade, they will be immediately eliminated using the same system of kill that we use against the drug dealers on boats at sea.
And if you didn't hear from Donald Trump, we just got done listening to his interview on Fox News. He said that no, he's not going to be eliminating them. He's pretty much going to be, putting a 50% tariff. Now, I mean, if it's an Iranian ship, I'm pretty sure he won't hesitate to eliminate that. But any other country ship, yeah, I doubt he's going to do it. If anything, he's going to put a 50% tariff on them as they get their oil.
It is quick and brutal. P.S. 98.2% of drugs coming to the U.S. by ocean or sea.
I mean, here's the thing, though. Who is this man threatening with a 50% tariff? Like, it can't be Russia and China because they don't care, honestly. Like, let's just keep it real.
We have stopped. Thank you for your attention to this matter. So that was posted a moment ago. From the region, we go live to Tel Aviv in the Middle East, and Trey Inks to get the view from there today. Trey, hello.
Yeah, hey, Bill, good morning. The U.S. blockade of Iranian ports is now in effect. The region waits to see how and if the Iranians will respond. U.S. Central Command giving some new details on this blockade, saying the blockade will be enforced impartially against vessels of all nations entering.
And guys, we're like $78 away from opening up the call-in line or putting out the call-in link for StreamYard. And like I said, any question, comment, jokes, or disagreements, feel free to super chat it in, $2 and up, help us get closer to the goal, and great way to engage. If not, go ahead and double tap that screen like the video, guys. Let's try to get the 300 likes.
Or departing Iranian ports and coastal areas, including all Iranian ports on the Arabian Gulf and Gulf of Oman. CENTCOM forces will not impede freedom of navigation for vessels transiting the Strait of Hormuz to and from non-Iranian ports. This critical step by the United States comes after negotiations in Islamabad, Pakistan, finished without a deal. Reports indicate major gaps on the issues of Strait control and uranium enrichment. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says he spoke with Vice President J.D. Vance after the talks.
The explosion came from the American side, which could not tolerate the blatant violation of the agreement to enter negotiations by Iran. The agreement was that the fire stops and the Iranians...
Yeah, that was the agreement. And you broke the ceasefire by hitting Lebanon 100 times in 10, well, my bad, they say 10 minutes, but let's just say 1 hour.
Immediately opened the strait. They did not do it. The Americans could not accept this.
I love how we just left out the fact that Iran actually did open up the strait for like an hour, and then Israel bombed Lebanon, southern Lebanon 100 times, and then Iran closed back the strait. So like, Bibi, you kind of F all that up for us. Like, we had the strait open while we were talking with the ceasefire deals, and then you wanted to go bomb Lebanon, and now we no longer have that. So thanks a lot, Israel. Appreciate that.
On Sunday, Netanyahu visited southern Lebanon, where the fight against Hezbollah continues. He was joined by Israeli Defense Minister Israel Katz. Today, Hezbollah continued rocket and drone attacks over the border against northern Israel. Now, Bill, right now, the Israeli military has raised the alert level across the country over concerns that Iran may get directly involved in the fight once again, following the closure of the Strait of Hormuz and the blocking of Iranian ports.
Oh, okay, a lot to track. Thank you, Trey. Good to have you on it. Back there, Tel Aviv, Israel. Funny, I do see some people saying, well, Bibi's already committing a genocide in Gaza. Yeah, I know. And he's moving on to southern Lebanon now. It's crazy. What was it? From those strikes in Lebanon, the numbers I've seen is about 254 people killed and about 1,200 injured. So, yeah.
So let's bring in Rebecca Heinrich, senior fellow at the Hudson Institute. We're 33 minutes into this blockade. What do you think of the strategy?
I think it's really smart, Dana. I think, Vice President Vance went in and really tried to negotiate in good faith and gave about a dozen hours or more, I think it was, marathon negotiations. And the U.S. side really hasn't changed about what we're demanding. We want a total safe passage to the Strait of Hormuz. We want a complete dismantlement of Iran's illegal nuclear program. We want Iran to stop funding its terrorist proxies. And the rump regime that discussing with Vice President Vance simply wouldn't concede. And they really do not have any leverage against the United States. As we've talked about before, Dana, President Trump hasn't even removed a single ground force out of the region. There was a surge of specialized ground.
And like I said, the leverage that they have is one, the ability to attack energy infrastructure in the region. I mean, the same ability we have in Iran. That's one of their cards. Two, they're still able to, well, close the Strait of Hormuz, even though we just put a double lock on it as if that's actually doing anything. But I mean, that's still one of the cards that they hold. And of course, there's three, like I said, well, they still got their proxies. Hamas, Hezbollah, and Houthis are still going under their command. Not so much Hamas, but Hezbollah and the Houthis for sure.
Forces into the region. None of our Navy forces have left our Air Force. Meanwhile, the Iranians essentially have no effective Air Force and Navy. And so we're going to try this very limited blockade of Iranian ports. It's going to hurt the Iranians way more than it hurts everybody else. And we're going to see if we can actually get the Iranians to capitulate.
So while you were speaking...
I'm so weak. I mean, I'm sorry, but we're talking about a country that's self-reliant. They don't need nobody to make missiles. They don't need nobody to produce oil, nobody to get their uranium. We're talking about one of the most self-sufficient countries in the world, and you thinking that we're doing something with them for this? Bro, that was an add-on for them. That's not, you're acting like we just took away something that they always had. They recently just gained this, like what was it, income line a month ago. Well, more than a month ago now. So what are you talking about, sweetheart? Like, what? This is not really doing anything to them. They can still make missiles. They can still make drones. They've done all of this before they had control of the Strait of Hormuz. So we're not really straining them when it comes to finances. Oh, we already had them under heavy sanctions, by the way, as well. So no, it is not really doing anything to them. If you're trying to strangle Iran out through their economy, we already proved that didn't work. Look at the sanctions. Look at their currency.
And I was hoping they would pull it up here. This is what J.D. Vance said are the red lines for America, and we pull up here on the board. You mentioned many of them, including the dismantlement of all nuclear enrichment facilities. But the last one is fully open the Strait of Hormuz.
I know, end all nuclear enrichment. I mean, they're not doing that. Dismantle all major nuclear enrichment facilities. Yeah, we didn't get that. Retrieve highly enriched uranium. Yep, ain't get that. Like, come on now, accept a broader peace and security and de-escalation framework that includes regional allies, which is hilarious because, I mean, regional allies. See, and this is what a lot of people don't understand, that when Iran said that included Hezbollah in Lebanon. But some people don't understand that regional allies means, yes, Iran's proxies.
Charging no tolls for passage. That would just be back to the status quo ante. But I'm curious, what do you think the Iranians' threshold for pain is in terms of their economy? Because they don't care. One of the reasons there was the protest beforehand is that the economy was in shambles. The people were up in arms. They were upset about it. And the Iranians said, we'll give you an additional $7 a month. Well, that's not going to cut it. So this is going to bring more economic pain to the Iranians. But will the regime actually feel that pain?
No.
So it's really important that we differentiate between the Iranian people and the Iran regime. So you're really right to do that, Dana. So any threats against things that would affect the Iranian people disproportionately than the Iran regime itself, it's not going to change the behavior of this rump regime. The only thing that's going to change the behavior of the rump regime, if anything at all, is threatening their life. So threatening the actual regime leaders, the IRGC, which the Israelis have been very...
And they don't even care about that. Did you forget that we're dealing with Shia Muslims who see martyrdom as like the highest honor? These guys don't fear death. That's the problem with these guys. And we keep thinking that, oh, well, we killed a whole succession. That's regime change. No, it's not. We're dealing with like hardliners now. We destroyed all the moderates. We killed all the moderates. And now we're dealing with nothing but hardliners. So we're dealing with hardliners. They don't care about dying. So what's the threat here? And like I said, the only way to get a true regime change is to put boots on the ground and enforce it that way.
effective at fully penetrating into this leadership. There's that, and then there's also just completely cutting off their ability to carry out any kind of attacks at all, which is what I think this blockade against these Iranian ports are going to do, because this is the lifeblood into funding the regime. And again, it's meant to change their behavior, to see if we can get this current rump regime to capitulate and essentially say, okay, we're going to cooperate and be more pragmatic. Or if this doesn't work, then I would suspect the United States is going to resume carrying out further attacks to create more pressure and pain against the regime to get more compliant leadership in place.
Okay, and then we have 1 minute left. So Israel is continuing to target Hezbollah. This has also been an issue of contention in the negotiations. Watch here from Danny Danon.
We have no beef with Lebanon. On the contrary, we want to see a sovereign Lebanon, and we have a mutual enemy that's fighting the sovereignty of Lebanon, which is Hezbollah. So
yeah, well, sadly, the people of Lebanon don't see Hezbollah as a terrorist group. Actually, they see them as their only defense against Israel, because not even the Lebanese army is as formidable as Hezbollah when it comes to being a fighting force. So, I mean, you ask the people of Lebanon and they see Hezbollah as, well, freedom fighters. But of course, you ask the Israelis, they're a terrorist group. And the reason why Hezbollah even exists is because Israel's constant invasion of Lebanon, southern Lebanon, and they definitely have annexed and taken southern Lebanon before. This what created Hezbollah that drove Israel out of southern Lebanon. And there's been, well, beef ever since. But let's not forget, this beef started because Israel wanted to take southern Lebanon.
We are welcoming
I mean, literally creating the terrorists they complain about. Oh, let's not even talk about the fact that Israel funded Hamas. Let's not even talk about that. Like, they literally create the terrorists they complain about.
The negotiations, but we know that the Lebanese government, they are very weak, and hopefully, they will have the courage to confront Hezbollah.
So the Israelis are saying, we're not going to leave these terrorists on the border, but that is a bone of contention that the Iranians have because they support them.
Which is really interesting, because Iran has contended.
Guys, make sure to double tap that screen and like the video, guys. Let's get more people in on the conversation by double tapping that screen or smashing that like button. Appreciate the support. And you got any question, comment, jokes, or disagreements? Like I said, we're 78 away from the call-in line. So appreciate the support, guys. All right, let's keep going.
For years and years that they do not support Hezbollah, but clearly part of the U.S. goal in Epic Fury is for the Iran regime to stop supporting its proxies. Hezbollah has been one. Vice President Vance has been clear that was not a condition for the United States to implement our ceasefire. So Israel can continue to take out Hezbollah in Lebanon. And by the way, the Lebanese government has said that the Iranian ambassador there was persona non grata. So we need to separate Hezbollah from Lebanon. I would suspect these attacks to continue again on the part of Israel aside, because they can't afford to let Hezbollah continue to exist there. Dana.
Rebecca, love having you. Thank you so much for this morning.
They don't want to let Hezbollah exist there because that's the only people stopping them from taking southern Lebanon. Like, quite literally. Like, ain't that effed up? Trust me, if Hezbollah is gone, southern Lebanon becomes Israel. And that's literally what they want. And that's kind of what we want as well, because, Israel want to create that whole greater Israel project. We got Christian Zionists in America that want to help them do it. And I even send money for them to do so, which is wild. We're basically sending money, Christian Zionists, you're sending money over to Israel for them to break international law. Wild. But all right, though, let's get over here to this controversial thing that Trump did. This guy, bro, wildin'. He basically posted himself as Jesus, healing somebody? And then he said, well, I thought I was a doctor. Nick, bro, come on now. Who else touches people and